Another victory for freedom and common sense as the United Nations have decided to cancel one of the key net zero targets. It's all falling apart. The whole project of the net zero 2030 targets and even the 2050 targets, everybody's kicking off. And ironically, it's the same organizations and corporations who have been supporting these measures. They are the ones who are now kicking off because they realize they're going to be hit as well. So the UN Climate Alliance have decided to scrap their net zero rules for insurers after exodus of their members. So basically, when corporations kick off, the establishment listen. Interesting, right? I wonder why. Oh, is it because all the money that they have, all the power they have over you? So what is this actually about? This is about the United Nations Environmental Program, right? The Net Zero Insurance Alliance. So the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, or NZIA, which is convened by the UN Environment Programme, UNEP as they say, was launched 2 years ago. Since its launch, the organization and its partners have developed the foundational concepts and frameworks to support its members as they work towards decarbonizing their insurance and, of course, insurance underwriting portfolios. Right? So that's what they had. And they had members. Everybody joined, all these corporations, and then they're all leaving because they realize it's not really sustainable, is it, for the economy and for ordinary people? And it's sad because, yes, we are celebrating, but it's not our victory because it's not our fight. It's corporations who supported it. They created it with their big funding and everything else. And now they're the ones who realize, oh, it's not looking good for us. So we are going to leave the net zero targets. So we're still under threat when it comes to the extreme net zero measures for everyday life. So we haven't completely won that big war. But in terms of battles, we are winning. The house of cards is falling apart. We know that. Sweden has already cancelled their net zero as well when it comes to 100% renewables. Anyway, so this organization came, the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, to say, going forward, NZIA member companies have no obligation to set or publish their targets. Rather, individual member companies will be responsible and publicly accountable for any targets they set, the methodologies used to set them, the timeline on which they decide to publish any targets, and the progress they are making. You do realize that just means nothing. So the whole point of the organization was to create a mandate, right, for these targets. Now they're saying, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We've cancelled all that. So we're going to allow companies themselves to set their own targets and their timeline, and just let us know every now and then. Just give us an update on your progress. We're not going to do anything about it. It is so bad, absolutely bad. The statement confirms a Reuters story that on Tuesday, a few days ago, that the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, which is down to 12 members from a peak of 30 after major firms such as AXA and obviously the other Alliance and Tokyo Marine and all the others quit, which was said to ease the rules in a bid to keep the coalition going. Under the NZIA's target setting protocol published in January, because quite recently, insurance members had until the end of July to publish emissions target for 2030 using recommended types of targets, and were then required to update on their progress annually. And they all said, nope, we're not doing it. So United Nations have been forced to completely make a U-turn on the whole nonsense. So this could also be a good lesson. This could be a good tip for us because the backlash helps. The backlash works. So there are so many things happening right now in the world when it comes to the global consensus and the centralization of powers. So you've got the cashless society coming up. You've got the digitalized world completely becoming centralized. And you've got, again, digital ideas and everything else. You've got net zero measures. There are ideas about climate lockdowns. You've got ideas about universal basic income and government completely have you been dependent on them. We have all these ideas. Some of them, the fight back is working. The universal basic income, the fight back worked, and the countries who've been trialing it have been cancelling it left, right, and centre. Net zero measures, the fight back is working. In London, ULEZ, there's a fight back. There's a new coalition for ULEZ. There's a court case right now going on in central London, the High Court, and all the others. So not all of them we are winning. So there is a problem with, for example, the ideas of digital IDs and the centralization of all the data. That is difficult to actually win because we are moving towards that world. The Chinese Communist Party are doing it, the Russians are doing it, the Iranians are doing it, the Americans are doing it, the Canadians are doing it. So that is the new global, that's the new world order as we know it. Not saying it to be pessimistic, but the fight back will come later on when if the system basically fails to operate under this new consensus. But when it comes to cashless society and these sort of ideas, that's a whole different fight. But with this one, we are winning slowly. Anyway, I just wanted to give you some good news. And today, despite all the doom and gloomy updates that are happening on a daily basis, I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.